Good morning, friends and colleagues. I am Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes, Chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. Thank you for joining our press conference today as we unveil our 2023 legislative priorities. Today is special. For our 50th anniversary, we are launching our 50th Latino Caucus 50 year-long campaign to celebrate our 50th anniversary fighting for justice and representation in our state and beyond. On this day, we proudly celebrate our history. We celebrate 50 years of uplifting and empowering our Latinos. We do so days before Cesar Chavez Day, a day that remembers that this caucus fought to make Cesar Chavez a state holiday in the 90s. This year, we reached a significant milestone as a caucus, marking a rich history of advancing legislation that centers and uplifts California's diverse Latino community. The caucus was originally formed to empower, promote, and preserve the rights of Latino communities throughout the state of California. This was done under duress and anti-immigrant environment. Since its formation, California's demographics have shifted significantly. Our Latino population is nearly 16 million residents, accounting for almost 40% of the state's population. For over 5 decades, we fought for representation at every decision-making table, from the United States Senate to state judicial branch, to cabinet secretaries, to the legislature, where this year we have the biggest Latino caucus membership ever, with 38 members. We celebrate this major milestone by discussing the caucus's impact over 50 years as we begin highlighting the work ahead by announcing our top legislative priorities this legislative session. Nevertheless, we have fought for the representation of Latinos in the legislature and in our caucus. For the second time ever, the caucus is led by 2 women, and for the third time ever, it is being led by 3 consecutive women chairs. We have the largest class of 21 Latina legislators, a record majority in our state's history. And in fact, I am the first openly LGBTQ+ woman to be elected chair and the first Inland Empire representative to serve in this position. There is so much diversity within our Latino caucus to celebrate, and even further diversity within our Latino community in our great state. But despite our diverse contributions to California and in our country, we are mindful that these last 50 years have not come without its challenges. Our history reminds us that our communities have been scapegoated, vilified, and targeted. In our present, we have to continue pushing forward and ensuring that we uplift the nearly 60 million Latinos in California in fighting for our vast contributions and the needs of our humanity. At a time, we recognize that we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, of giants, of glass ceiling breakers who have paved the way so that people like me, like us, have a seat at the table where voices are uplifted, where the decisions are being made. As Latino members, our diverse experiences, our perspectives, and our voices at every leadership level allows us to understand better and respond to the needs of the people that we represent daily. When more Latinos have access to tangible opportunities like sustainable jobs, education, homes, and healthcare, they contribute even more to our economy. But above all, they are allowed to thrive beyond their productivity to our state to live a whole and healthy lives beyond survival. All of our Latino caucus members are honored to serve and demonstrate that the Latino community matters and that we are essential to California's story. When we succeed, California succeeds. In fact, we represent districts in every part of the state, from San Diego to the Inland Empire to the Central Valley to the Bay Area, from Mexicanos, Salvadorians, and Puerto Rican backgrounds and multiple identities and intersectionalities. 1/4 of all Latinos are Afro-Latino, and many others identify as members of our indigenous communities. As the Latino Caucus, we have fought for justice when it comes to expanding access to education for all students, including our dreamers. Justice when it comes to expanding access for health for everyone, regardless of immigration status. Justice when it comes to increasing the minimum wage, housing justice, and environmental justice. Justice at the polls and voting and civic engagement. Our members throughout history have led in these battles and more. And while the Latino Caucus has continued to make great strides to advance policies to expand access to health care for all, promoting diversity in our education system through ethnic studies for all, and funding for the Unseen Latinas initiative, while making targeted investments in educational equity and affordable housing and pandemic relief, we also recognize the persistent disparities and challenges disproportionately faced by Latino communities across the state that were worsened by the pandemic. Latinos are driving our economic growth, yet our needs often go unmet. As California ascends to become the fourth largest economy, its success is dependent on the well-being of our state's Latino population. California will not do better unless Latinos in the state do better. Latinos will largely determine the future of California and will be essential to securing the state's future prosperity. As we seek to make progress and justice by addressing these pressing challenges and barriers, this year we have identified 14 bills as a legislative priority. These are all enclosed in the press package that were with you today in the back of the room. And so I encourage you to grab one to get a list of those priorities and accompanying office's fact sheets along with it. I do invite at this moment our Vice Chair to provide remarks, and we'll hear briefly thereafter from our colleagues from the Latino Caucus on these 14 legislative matters.
Yes, our chair definitely deserves a round of applause for all of her incredible work thus far. So I'm Senator Lena Gonzalez, proudly serving as the Latino Caucus Vice Chair and proud to represent Senate District 33, which includes Long Beach, Southeast Los Angeles, and the Port of Long Beach. As we look back on our history, as been mentioned, we can be proud of the progress we have made. Again, 38 Latino members, 40% of California's population, and we have passed landmark legislation, elected trailblazing leaders, and created meaningful change for millions of Californians. But we also know that the work is far from over. Our Latino economic upward mobility is necessary to build a more inclusive economic future for everybody. We have many goals to accomplish and fight for on behalf of the 16 million Latinos across the state of California. Our legislative priorities during this consequential year, which we will hear from shortly, embody what is critical to our state's future economic and social upward direction. And we want to ensure that we also provide intergenerational prosperity for this upward mobility for all Latinos across the state. With that, I hand it back over to our chair and we'll begin our priority bills. Thank you.
Thank you to our Senate Majority Whip and Vice Chair of the Latino Caucus, Senator Gonzalez. We will now invite caucus members to briefly talk about their priority bills. We broke down our bill list by subject matter as included on your press package. We will start first with economic equity, healthcare access, and housing. We will hear from the following members: Assemblymember Arambula, Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry, Assemblymember Soria, Assemblymember Valencia, Assemblymember Ramos, our Vice Chair Gonzalez, and Senator Limon.
Thank you to the Latino Caucus for holding this press event here today. Healthcare is a human right. The immense success that we've had over the last several years in expanding healthcare coverage to millions of our undocumented Californians and farm workers is a product of the hard work of many of the advocates and supporters behind us that you see here today. So I want to make sure to appreciate the Latino Caucus for supporting and placing AB4 as a priority legislation. AB4 will continue that process of expanding health care access by expanding covered California to those who are unjustly excluded. We will continue to make sure that our communities have their needs addressed, that we create a healthcare system that is more equitable and affordable and meets the needs of all Californians. I'm grateful to the Latino Caucus for the support in AB4 and look forward to our partnership this year. I now have the privilege of introducing Cecilia Aguiar-Curry.
Good morning. AB 365 will help address a major category of current health inequity that disproportionately impacts the Latino community by reforming Medi-Cal's coverage criteria and expanding access to continuous glucose monitors for people living with diabetes. Continuous glucose monitors are an important tool for all people living with diabetes because it will automatically monitor blood glucose levels through the day and the night. Unfortunately, the Department of Healthcare Services currently restricts access to CGMs to a small number of diabetics, even though this conflicts with medical standards of care. According to the CDC, members of the Latino community are more likely to develop pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes, and they are more likely to experience diabetes complications, including kidney failure and vision loss. And Latinos make up 48.6% of the total Medi-Cal population, far the largest ethnic group. This bill will require the Department of Healthcare Services to review and update coverage policies for CGMs based on current evidence-based clinical guidelines. These decisions should be based on medical science, not on budgets. I am proud that this bill is one of the Latino Caucus priority bills. And I'd like to bring forward Assemblymember Soria.
Buenos días a todos. Good morning. Esmeralda Soria representing also the Central Valley Assembly District 27, Merced, Madera, and Fresno counties. I'm proud as a new member to join the Latino Caucus and also include AB 412 as a top priority. As mentioned before, healthcare access and coverage has been a top priority for the Latino Caucus. And more than ever before, it is critical that we recognize, and the Latino Caucus recognizes, how closures of small rural hospitals disproportionately impact our already most vulnerable communities, including Latino communities and farm workers. As a result of the pandemic, small rural hospitals that were already operating on narrow margins were pushed to the financial brink due to COVID and other factors. In the Central Valley, the district I represent, Madera Community Hospital, recently closed its doors, shutting down the only hospital for Madera County's roughly 170,000 residents, including neighboring communities, farm worker communities like Fireball and Mendota. Now hardworking farm workers and many other community members, 1/5 of them who live under poverty, must travel 30, 45, sometimes an hour to receive emergency care and other hospital services. During a medical emergency, we know that every second counts. And so Madera Community Hospital has been vital to protecting public health in our region and was first to treat COVID-19 patients in many of these rural Central Valley communities. Without this emergency financial assistance, which AB 412 will create, the hospital will not be able to open. And other hospitals that are at the brink or are teetering to be closed would also be impacted. This is going to impact access to emergency critical care for the most vulnerable residents that live up and down the state of California. And we know that majority of them are Latinos, low wage workers, farm workers, and that's why this bill is so important. And I'm so proud that the Latino Caucus has set it as a top priority. Next, I have the honor to also introduce one of my colleagues and also new members to the Assembly, Assemblymember Valencia.
Buenos dias, good morning. Once again, my name is Avelino Valencia, Assembly Member representing the 68th Assembly District in Central Orange County. I am pleased to stand here today alongside so many of my Latino Caucus colleagues to talk about our legislative priority package. My bill, AB 470, aims to improve communications between patients and their physicians by promoting education in underrepresented languages. Se estima que 10 millones de californianos hablan español. Sin embargo, solo hay 62 médicos hispanohablantes por cada 100,000 residentes que hablan español. It's estimated that 10 million Californians speak Spanish. However, there are only 62 Spanish-speaking physicians per 100,000 Spanish-speaking patients. The linguistic inequities in our healthcare system are evident. AB 470 will remedy this by encouraging physicians to take courses on languages other than English to fulfill their continuing medical education requirements. It is essential that patients receive culturally competent and quality care. AB 470 will help healthcare professionals to better understand, communicate with, and effectively interact with their patients from diverse backgrounds. Gracias, and I look forward to seeing the successful passage of all of our priority bills. And now I have the privilege and pleasure of introducing Senator Lena Gonzalez. Thank you.
Thank you. These are all great bills. So good morning once again, Senator Gonzalez, proud to be the Vice Chair of the Latino Caucus. So simply put, SB 616, which is my bill, it increases the number of paid sick leave days for all employees from 3 days to 7 days. Currently, employees who work in California more than 30 days within the calendar year, are entitled to only 3 paid sick days. What have we learned from COVID-19 is that we have learned that so many of our essential workers, especially those that are Latino, have needed additional time to care for themselves, care for others, and just ensure that their wellness is at top priority. And while this policy was groundbreaking in 2014, it is now outdated and insufficient to meet the needs of our diverse workforce. Already, 12 states and numerous cities across our country have enacted more permissive sick leave policies than California, which is a shame. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the life-saving impacts of paid sick leave benefits and policies, while clearly exposing the gaps in our existing safety net for working families. Failure to raise California's minimum requirements for paid sick leave will disproportionately harm our communities. Furthermore, paid sick leave can reduce employers' overall costs by containing potential disease outbreaks and allowing workers to recover faster and return to work more productively in the 4th largest economy. So I'd like to commend our chair for her leadership and thank my colleagues for voting to ensure that SB 616 remains a priority. Thank you. And next, I will actually pass it back to our chair, Cervantes, on behalf of Assemblymember James Ramos.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Assemblymember Ramos cannot be here with us this afternoon. I will be presenting on his behalf. We are excited to be supporting Assembly Bill 1508, First-Time Homebuyer Plan. This bill amends Section 50426 of the Health and Safety Code to include a goal to increase home ownership among first-time home buyers in the state by at least 20% above the average of home ownership rates among home buyers over the period of 4 years. And so we certainly know that we have a housing issue in the state of California that we must address, and so this is AB 1508 is the Latino Caucus priority. I will now head to the education portion of our priority list, where we have Assemblymember Reyes, Assemblymember Luz Rivas, and Assemblymember Wendy Garrillo.
I'm Assembly Majority Leader Eloise Reyes, and I represent a good portion of San Bernardino County. I'm so proud to be here and to present to you one of the priority bills for the Latino Legislative Caucus. I also want to say happy anniversary, 50 years. Thank you, Madam Chair, for presenting us and bringing us to this date. Well, not too long ago, we started with Dream Resource Centers for our colleges and universities. They were a great success. Many of our dreamers, our immigrants, our undocs were able to find a place that could be their home, where they could go and receive information regarding financial aid, other resources. But our high school students are saying, we're here, we need some help too. So AB 278 will now provide Dream Resource Centers in our high schools. Los Angeles County has taken the lead, and they've already provided some resource centers for the high schools there in LA County. Our Dream Resource Centers will provide students with essential resources such as financial aid assistance, social services assistance, and academic opportunities. These centers will strengthen our communities and the communities within the schools themselves. We're very excited about the success in the universities, and now we need to have that success in the high school. California is home to many first-generation and immigrant students, many of whom have to navigate through a very complex immigration and educational system. And we need to provide the proper guidance and the support that they would want. We want the students not to have to worry about these complexities of the systems on their own. We want to be able to provide them whatever they need so that they can just work on school and be the leaders that they can be. The Latino Caucus has achieved so many increasing equity and opportunities for so many of our Latino students across California for the last 50 years. I'm proud to be part of that success, and I look forward to seeing what we can continue to do and to achieve. AB 278 encapsulates the core values of our caucus and will provide a sense of stability and hope for all of our students. Thank you. And now I'd like to call up my colleague, Assemblymember Luz Rivas.
Thank you. I'm honored that the Latino Caucus has included my bill, AB 393, as a legislative priority this year. AB 393 would develop a standard process for general child care programs to identify the dual language learners that they serve. The bill will require these child care programs to report key information about dual language learners to the state in order to make informed policy and program decisions. While this change may seem simple, it has significant implications. Many of us in the Latino Caucus grew up in our preschools being discouraged from speaking our native language of Spanish. I remember, and this is in the late 70s for me, getting in trouble in my preschool for speaking Spanish. But some of us were defiant 3- and 4-year-olds that still spoke Spanish, and even though we risked punishment in our preschool. And I'm very proud that I still speak Spanish and that I'm bilingual. It helps me, oh, thank you. You know, it has helped me in my career. Now, as a legislator, I just finished an interview with Univision this morning, all in Spanish. And we need to see this, and I'm glad that our state now sees this as an asset. But some of us still lived in a time where that wasn't always the case. And so that's why I'm proud to introduce this bill, to work with a coalition of organizations that believe that speaking another language is an asset. I wish I spoke a third language, but this is a start to help child care educators identify dual language learners, and so that we can learn from that data on how to train educators to support dual language learners. So thank you very much to my colleagues. Many of them are co-authors of this measure, and I look forward to seeing this bill be successful through this process. Next up, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo.
Thank you, and good morning. Wow, 50 years. 50 years. We need las monedas de oro de chocolate, right, to pass out. It is an honor to be with you all, and I'm so thankful and grateful to my colleagues in the Latino Caucus for voting on this bill as a priority piece of legislation. My name is Wendy Carrillo. I proudly represent Assembly District 52, which includes the communities of East LA, Northeast LA, and the city of Glendale. I identify as a proud Salvi Chicana, and I share that with you because of the context of my bill. I am a formerly undocumented young person in this country, one of 3 legislators who have the honor of claiming that across our legislature, because I believe, and we all believe, that representation matters. It's where we come from in our communities that make us move legislation that is important to our families. I'm here to to really talk about legacy building, and I'm thankful to our Latino Legislative Caucus leaders for all of their support and encouragement, Chair Cervantes, Vice Chair Gonzalez, and all my colleagues again for prioritizing legislation that's important across the state. AB 1255, related to the creation of an ethnic studies statewide task force, is amongst these bills in order to adequately prepare teachers to teach ethnic studies, which was a priority piece of legislation to the Latino Caucus for many years. And I want to give a special recognition to Assemblymember Jose Medina, who fought tirelessly to get AB 101 signed into law, signed by the governor, creating that every high school graduate across the state of California has ethnic studies as a high school requirement. He's my Panamanian fellow Central American in the Latino Caucus, but we get to continue that legacy. That work was critical and important, but now we need the teachers. We need the teachers to ensure that there is a credentialing process that allows for ethnic studies to be its own credential. We're not asking for history teachers to become ethnic studies teachers. We're asking that the state of California create a pathway to credentialing teachers to teach ethnic studies and have the cultural, language, necessities and requirements to make this a reality. And I think that's important for our state and for our community, not just the Latino community, but for all ethnic communities across the state of California. Unas pocas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Wendy Carrillo, orgullosamente represento el Distrito 52 en la Asamblea, noreste de Los Ángeles, el este de Los Ángeles y la ciudad de Glendale. Estamos aquí celebrando 50 años de todo lo que ha pasado a través del Estado, pero la importancia del Comité Latino en la legislatura. Es un gran momento para nosotros poder celebrar la comunidad latina, los avances de la comunidad latina, especialmente en la política. Estamos aquí para poder hablar de las prioridades de este comité. Yo estoy muy orgullosa de ser la autora de AB 1255, que es el segundo paso para hacer la habilidad de estudios étnicos a través de todas las escuelas high schools a través del estado de California. Es el segundo paso después que pasamos la ley AB 101 de nuestro compañero José Medina, que trabajó por muchos años para hacer esto una realidad. Y ahora que el Estado requiere que cada estudiante tome ese tipo de clase para poder graduarse, tenemos una gran oportunidad de crear la credencial de maestros para que puedan tener el acceso a estudios étnicos a través del Estado de California y que cada estudiante tenga acceso a estas clases. Esta es una prioridad para el Comité Latino, pero es una prioridad y importancia para todas las comunidades étnicas a través del Estado de California. Muchas gracias y adelante en celebrar. Y un reconocimiento especial, a special recognition to our first Latina member of the Assembly, and that is our constituent, my constituent in my district, Assemblymember, former County Supervisor, Gloria Molina. We thank her and appreciate all of her hard work. Thank you.
Yes, we owe a debt of gratitude to former Assemblymember Gloria Molina, who was first elected, the first Latina elected to the state legislature in 1982. And so really grateful for blazing the trails that we all follow. I want to now share the next priority bill, SB 846 by Senator Limon, who unfortunately could not be with us this afternoon. I will be presenting on her behalf. This bill is an automatic back-end voter registration bill. While California has made great strides to expand voter registration, many continue to be left out of our democratic process. AB 846 proposes an update to the California automatic voter registration system to create an opt-out system as opposed to our current opt-in model. The benefit of this proposal is that California will register approximately 4 million more people to vote, including underrepresented communities, people of color, our hardest to reach populations. This update provides protections for non-citizens as it relies on verified documents to automatically filter non-citizens out from the voter registration process. This bill has the potential to increase Latino voting population participation. According to the PPIC, Latinos comprise 35% of the adult population, but just 22% of likely voters. This bill ensures that the voter rolls reflect the population of the state and gives Latinos a voice at the ballot box. Next, I am happy to have Assemblymember Garcia join us to share with us his priority for the Latino Legislative Caucus.
Good morning, buenos dias. Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and colleagues. As you all can see and have heard today, the issues that are important to Latino legislators are issues that are important and should be important to all Californians in every sector of public policy making. I'm very honored to be able to talk about AB 1567. The impacts of climate change to our state and our communities require us to act quickly, and so I'm glad that this bill was made a priority by this caucus. The bill seeks to make California more climate resilient by investing in various adaptation activities throughout the state, ranging from wildfire risk reduction to drought preparation to protection against sea level rising. But let me be very clear that while entering into the conversations around climate, and I mean absolutely no disrespect, we come from the premise of not focusing just on the idea that we need to save polar bears, worry about the melting ice caps in the Antarctic, but that we must focus on people, the direct public health implications that climate change has in our communities of color, where we continue to strive to ensure that there is infrastructure to provide safe, clean drinking water, that we continue to work on the minimizing and mitigation of bad air quality that has impacts, again, on the public health and well-being of all Californians, with a specific emphasis in communities of color. So we must invest in our infrastructure to protect our communities, our environment, our economy from the ever-evolving climate crisis. This bill is meant to promote equity, foster community resiliency, and protect the most vulnerable by prioritizing projects that are meaningful and beneficial to these disadvantaged communities. And so this is a $15 billion proposal that makes an effort to make future investments. And as we see a budget that is being discussed in reducing the investments that were committed to in the last 2 years, we want to ensure that those priorities that were put forward do not get left behind. And more importantly, that those priorities that impact communities of color don't get left behind. So I just wanted to say thank you to the Latino Caucus for selecting this particular bill as a priority in the environmental space. And again, I just want to say thank you to all who will be supporting this bill along the way. Gracias.
Lastly, we will finalize our legislative priorities on the New Americas and immigrant rights. We will be hearing from the following members: Assemblymember Santiago, Assemblymember Juan Carrillo, and Senator Durazo. Assemblymember Santiago.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to thank everybody who's here. Look, it makes no sense that in the state of California, the fourth largest economy in the world, people go hungry. And most of those people are undocumented. And we fought years ago, and Latino Caucus was successful in putting in the state budget the ability to give anybody who's undocumented, 55 years and older, the ability to get food, just like anybody else through any social program. Now, here's what happened. Now we're talking about budget cuts, and the first thing that comes off the table is food for all, pushed out 2 years. And I don't know about you, but I don't think people can wait 2 years when they're hungry to be able to get food. So we're tripling down our efforts now and fighting back for food for all, not just for 55 and above pushed out 2 years from now. We're not going to accept the scraps on that. We're going to fight for everybody, whether you're documented or undocumented, to be able to get food. If we can give corporate tax breaks on this, and if we can put billions of dollars on that, and if billionaires are sending people to the moon, the heck we can't actually give food to people who are starving and those who are most vulnerable. We have farm workers up and down the state of California that would like to go to work but can't because there's floods. We have people in construction who are undocumented who want to go to work and they can't because construction is halted. We have people who want to go back and work in their restaurants, but they can't because the clientele is not there. And that's the first people we push out 2 years. Unacceptable. We are tripling down our efforts to make sure that anybody can get food in the state of California, whether you are documented or undocumented. Simple, digo breve en español, luchamos muy fuerte para asegurar que nuestras comunidades agarren comida, tengan o no tengan documentos. El gobernador lo empujó por 2 años. Nosotros decimos, no lo vamos a aceptar, ya basta. Queremos que toda nuestra comunidad tenga o no tenga documentos, tenga acceso a comida como cualquier otra persona. Lo podemos hacer, debemos hacerlo por la dignidad de este Estado y la justicia por la que luchamos. Y ahora me da mucho gusto presentar a mi colega Juan Carrillo. Chócale, Juan.
Muchas gracias, colegas. Buenos días a todos, and I hope that you're staying dry in this rainy day, one more rainy day in Sacramento. I'm Assemblymember Juan Carrillo, representing the 39th Assembly District, which includes Los Angeles and San Bernardino County, and the communities of Palmdale, Lancaster, Lake Los Angeles, Sun Village, Adelanto, Victorville, and Hesperia. First, I want to give a special thanks to Chair Sabrina Cervantes for bringing us together, and to my fellow colleagues that are here today. Let's give her applause. Thank you. Shirla, their members, and the advocates for all their hard work and continued presence in this space, and my colleagues that are standing behind me today also, thank you. I am myself an immigrant in this country that came at the age of 15 years old from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. I came to this country to work and obtain an education and to achieve the American dream. My first job was in construction, a typical job that most of our undocumented people have worked in. I know firsthand what it's like to work in back-breaking jobs, working long hours, and worry day in and day out if I had enough money to put food on the table. California is home to approximately 17,000 undocumented seniors, 65 and older. California has made historic investments in expanding food assistance benefits and unlocking Medi-Cal for undocumented seniors, but we have fallen short in doing the same for cash assistance programs for immigrants. AB 1536 is a step in the right direction to expand access to the CAPI program, an already existing benefit for the state's most vulnerable seniors and disabled undocumented population. Thank you to my colleagues who worked to vote this for the Latino Caucus priority, because our immigrant families are in fact a priority. And I know what it's like to come to this country undocumented. I'm one of the 3 that came in undocumented, now legislators. I came here at the age of 15, and I did come here to go to work. I didn't come to go to school. As you know, in our culture, we take the burden of having to support our siblings, helping our parents raise a family. I came here, started working. I paid income taxes at the state and at the federal level, and I was not able to get any of that money back. I know what it's like for those seniors that are 65 and older now, who worked 30 up to 40 years, and now it's time to give them some dignity in their senior years so that they can benefit from their hard work. And again, this is an already existing program. We just expanded it to include those undocumented seniors 65 and older. Thank you all for supporting this bill, and I'm really proud to be here in front of you and being part of this caucus that is working hard day in and day out for our immigrant communities. Thank you very much. And I am going to introduce Senator Durazo next.
Thank you, thank you. The last one standing, yay. I'm so honored that SB 227 was selected as a priority for the Latino Caucus, and I want to first acknowledge Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia for his courage in initiating this policy, and as a principal co-author, he made sure that this was put on the agenda for Sacramento. The Safety Net for All Workers Act would provide unemployed workers who are excluded from unemployment insurance due to their immigration status with $300 a week benefit for up to 20 weeks. In January, severe storms flooded the entire town of Planada. Less than 3 months later, the town of Pájaro is facing the same devastation. Residents of both towns are primarily low income, and many are undocumented. Their homes, their crops, their jobs are gone, and may take months for them to be able to get their jobs back. They have left with little or no recourse to shoulder the economic impacts. During the pandemic, thousands of hospitality workers lost their job overnight. Without access to unemployment benefits, these Californians incurred debt and can't even put food on the table and pay their rent, which is why we have other legislation to be able to address the food. Undocumented workers contribute $3.7 billion in state and local taxes, but here's the real core of this issue. Employers contribute $485 million to the UI system on behalf of those workers. These workers never see a penny of those benefits. We rely on them, their availability of their work. It's past time for the state to acknowledge that they are central to this economy, the fourth largest economy, and make sure all workers have a safety net during times of unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you to each of our members of the Latino Caucus. Thank you to my colleagues for the privilege of leading this caucus during such an important year. Thank you for being with us in launching our Latino Caucus 50th. We will continue to push the margins in the fight for justice. We will continue to push the margins in the fight for representation for Latinos across the state and across our great country. Today, we celebrate the legacy of our caucus members before us and those who've served today, and recommit ourselves to collectively ensuring that our adaptation of policies and practices reflect the values and evolving future for generations to come. This package of bills embodies our values and support of our Latino Caucus mission to create better opportunities for California's nearly 16 million Latinos by advancing economic and educational equity, access to health care, housing, environmental, immigration justice, and more. With that, I'd like to see if there's any questions from the press and media with us today. Happy to take any questions at the moment. Seeing none, thank you for joining us. This concludes our press conference. Thank you.